Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and you can find me at HOUSEPLANT on Instagram, TikTok, all the places. Make sure you are following, subscribe, all the good stuff. Today I'm going to show you my philodendron collection and I'm really excited about this one. I have more than I thought, honestly. When I went through to do this, I'm like, okay, there's quite a few. So I'm gonna go over all of them that I have, my general care and all that stuff. So let's get into it. So all of my plants are kept in 3 different rooms, and so I decided I'm just going to kind of go through the 3 rooms and show you the philodendron that I have in those rooms and where they are and all that stuff, so you can kind of get an idea of how I care for them, even though in general all of my philodendron care is pretty much the same for all of them across the board. I do treat a few a little bit different, but for the most part they will all be fine in any of these type of situations that I have them in. So let's just get started. The first one actually right here is my Philodendron Rio, which I love this one so much. I just put it on this clear Arca trellis and I love these trellises so much because they really let the plant shine. But I have had this one for quite a while, probably about a year. And I made a couple cuts not too long ago and they have grown from that. And the new growth is all pretty red. It doesn't have as much variegation as it did in the greenhouse environment that it came from. So I don't know, I might try to increase the light to kind of get that variegation up, but this is definitely one of my favorites. It's also a pretty rare one that I have, so it's definitely a good one. Okay, next we have my Philodendron gloriosum, which this one is by far one of my most favorite philodendron of all time. It has this new leaf coming out right here that has not emerged yet completely, still needs to unravel. But this is just a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. They are they're creepers in nature, so they like to creep along the ground and grow this way. So that is why I chose this rectangular pot, so that they can grow along here. I hope I wasn't even showing you. So they can grow along here. And it's just doing really well. I have really loved this plant so far. It's been very easy and it grows pretty quickly, I would say, for a larger philodendron. So this is one that if you don't have it on your list, I would add it for sure. The leaves are really velvety and just really, really pretty. And this one lives back in a west window right behind me. It just sits on the floor, so that's why most of these leaves are facing up. They're kind of faced up to get the light from the window, so it's been happy over there, and a west window has been great. I think it would also do well in a south window or an east window. I think either of those would be good. Next, we have my Philodendron tortum, which this one is so fun. It's somewhat new to me. I just potted it up into a slightly larger pot because it was in a little tiny like 3-inch, and it's doing so well. This is the newest leaf right here, and as these unfurl, they're so cool. They look like bones or like a skeleton kind of coming open. It's been very easy as well, and it sits in the west window behind me, also right in that little spot right there where it's bare. Now another favorite that sits behind me as well up against that west window is my Philodendron squamiferum. This one has been such a pleasant surprise. I grabbed this at Lowe's, not thinking anything of it, and it has grown so much. It grows really quickly. Here's a new leaf opening up. And the coolest thing about this plant by far is the furry petioles or stems. Let me see if I can get you a good picture. They're so furry and fuzzy, and it's just such a cool feature. Very good talking point. So this would be a good one if you like kind of weird, unique things. It also becomes a nice big floor plant, so it will fill a big corner if you have one with good light, and it's just been really fun. I've loved this one so much too. All right, next I have this Philodendron brandtianum. I actually just added these little pieces of wire right here to kind of like give it a shape as it's growing, and it's just been really fun. It's been a pretty decent grower for me. It does go pretty yellow like this though if I forget to water it, so I have to stay on that one a little bit more than some of my others, but it's a really beautiful philodendron and the silver markings are just so cool. Okay, and then this is the Philodendron bipennifolium, the gold violin or golden violin. And you can see here that I chopped it to propagate it, and it is now growing back. There's little nubs growing in, so that's good. This one is one that I forget about all the time. I think it will be really, really pretty as it gets older and more mature leaves, but as of now, it's just kind of like sitting there, and I think it's fine, but I'm not like in love with it. But it is pretty cool, and I mean, maybe I'll put it on a moss pole and see what it does. Okay, and then this one is definitely a pride and joy plant. This is a variegated heartleaf philodendron. Absolutely stunning foliage. It is just so unique. This one I got pretty little, and it has grown to be a decent size. I'm just kind of waiting for it to start to trail, and I'll probably put it on a trellis or something. But I definitely think that this is one that if you can get your hands on one, grab it. It also lives in the west window behind me, and it's doing well. It's keeping those, the new growth is nice and bright, so with lots of variegation. So I think for that to happen, you need a lot of good light. So very happy with this one too. All right, and then up on these walls, this is where I have my normal heartleaf philodendron, and it has grown all the way around and is going up to the ceiling up here, and then has kind of come down. I also have a golden pothos that is going all the way around the room too, and that is the one that you see that it's mostly bare here because it's the oldest. And then I have added a philodendron Brasil here to kind of help, my goal I guess is to kind of help it fill in. And so I added this here, and I'm kind of letting it go up onto the bare vines. So that's there. And then the pot for the normal heartleaf philodendron that I have is back in there, and it's just like a few little things coming out, but then it has done such a good job of filling in throughout the rest of the room. Okay, so that is all the philodendron in this room. Let's head to the office and I'll show you what's in there. Okay, now we're in the office, and it's very bright in here. I gotta like watch for the sun. It's a little intense. This is a south facing window, so this room gets lots of great light, especially in the winter. And the first one I have in here is a philodendron sunrise, and this one is really fun too. It has these kind of like deep orangish, reddish, purpley leaves when they first emerge, and then they fade to more of a green, but it has like a nice sheen to it, and I really like this one too. Eventually I will probably also get this one on a moss pole or just like a stake or something to kind of help it grow upright. Then we have our philodendron strawberry shake. This one is absolutely a just stunning, stunning plant. I love this plant so much. Look at these leaves. Like, you just cannot get any prettier than that. Strawberry shake, I actually potted it into this cool clear glass pot because the roots are red or pinkish color, and so I thought it'd be really pretty when they start to show up. I did get an all pink leaf coming in, so we're gonna see what happens with that, see how long that lasts. If it keeps doing that, I'm gonna have to just cut it off, and hopefully it will get some more green, because all pink leaves are beautiful, but they don't have any chlorophyll, and so the plant doesn't hold on to them for very long. I want the leaves to look like this, or like this. So hopefully that's what the next one will look like. I do have it on this clear moss pole from Thickly, and I love these so much. They work so well. So yeah, it's really happy right now. Then we have my pink princess, which is pretty big now. It's a lower variegation variety, or the genes of it are just a little bit lower variegation. It has some leaves that have some pink on them, just not a whole lot, except for, of course, this one leaf that just came in all pink. That's already kind of fading away, you can tell. So hopefully with the newer growth, it will start to get some more variegation. I mean, there's plenty of pink on the back of the leaves, but like none on the front, so that's not fun. But this one, I just still have it in its original grower's pot. I probably need to pot it up sometime soon, and then I just have it on a Mossify moss pole. This one is a fun plant though, just because it is so big, and I just want to let it keep growing bigger and bigger. Okay, and then the last one I have in here is just a little guy, and I have this one on a moss pole as well. It has been growing pretty slowly, but it is growing into this pole, so we'll see. I don't know. I don't love it on this pole. It's pretty small, and it doesn't stay wet for very long, but it's doing okay. In general, again, not a whole lot of variegation. This is the newest leaf, and there's hardly any, so it has actually been in the grow cabinet behind me. And I might just bring it out here and keep it in the sun instead, like in this south facing window, and see if that makes a difference. just to kind of like switch it up a little bit. Okay, that is all for the office. Let's go upstairs to the other office. All right, so up here is another just little like makeshift plant office space. This is another south-facing window, and then I have my IKEA greenhouse cabinet in here too. So I don't have too many philodendron up here. The first one I will show you is this one. It is the philodendron imbi, which is one I don't hear much about. And this one is really beautiful as well. It's kind of growing up. I have it on a trellis too. Some of these older leaves are starting to die off, but again, this pot probably needs to be potted up. But this is a pretty fast growing philodendron as well. I did chop this one too, and it has grown back just fine. So it's a little wild looking, but it's still really fun, and I like this one too. The sun is really intense in here right now. This is a Philodendron Florida Ghost, which I saved from root rot. I first gave it root rot and then had to save it. So I have it in perlite right now, and it has started to put out this new leaf right here. And then it has another one on the way, which is very exciting. I actually thought that this was gonna be a goner, and I was so upset, but it's doing really well, and I need to probably graduate it from this solo cup to an actual pot someday. For now, it's doing just fine, and I'm not gonna mess with it until these leaves unfurl. This one also has been in the greenhouse cabinet too, just under good light and humidity to help it root in the perlite and then grow. Next, I have this Philodendron Jungle Boogie, which is on a Rousseau plant care moss pole. I don't believe that these are available for sale right now, but keep an eye out if he ever does sell them. Grab one because they're usually pretty limited and they're just so pretty. But this is the Jungle Boogie Philodendron, and it has all of these spots, which at first I thought was spider mite damage, but I'm pretty sure now it's just extra floral nectaries, which is pretty common with philodendron. So I'm just letting it do its thing. It has some new growth coming too. This one just unfurled and it has been really happy. So this one sits here next to the greenhouse cabinet, so it gets some light from the lights in there, and then it mostly just gets light from this room that gets nice and bright from the south window. So this one has been good here. Let's see what else. Ooh, I have one up here. Next, I have a very droopy philodendron micans that needs to be watered very badly. So I will do that once I'm done filming this. It's nice and long. It's pretty crazy. I have had this one for a little over a year as well, and it just looks like a hot mess. And honestly, it's like dropping all the dry leaves as I speak. So I need to clean this one up and do a little TLC, but it always bounces back for me, so that's kind of nice. It sits on top of the greenhouse cabinet and gets light from the south window as well. And then the last two philodendron I have are just little babies. This is the Philodendron White Wizard, which is just starting to get some white on the new growth. And then Philodendron Ring of Fire, which has new growth, but it's definitely taking a long time. So I probably need to get this in a bigger pot too, and maybe keep it watered a little bit more so it has some more energy to grow, because these dry out so quickly, and I think that is part of the problem. But they're both really cute and they're both surviving, and so hopefully I can get them to thrive soon. Okay, I also want to talk about basic philodendron care really quick. I try to keep them in the brightest light possible. So if I have a south window, a west window, that is where I would prefer they be. If you don't have that type of light, or you don't have a spot for them in that type of light, then an east window will do okay. But these are plants that will not do well in a north window or back a ways from the light. They need to be in good bright light to be able to grow and thrive. So make sure that you have them in good light. I use Foliage Pro every time I water, especially in the growing season. If for some reason your plant stops growing, then I do say to kind of cut back on fertilizer. But if your plant is growing, then you should be fertilizing it and feeding it. So I use Foliage Pro every time. It's super easy to use. I will put it in the description below, so go grab that if you don't have it already. The next thing is philodendron love a nice chunky, well-draining soil. They're not going to do well if they're in boggy, wet, thick soil. So I like to use Soul Soil's potting mix. It works so well. It's light and airy and chunky, and it retains moisture, but the roots can get plenty of airflow, so it's super helpful too. Also will be linked below if you guys want to check that out. Light is key. So if you don't have good light in your house and you want philodendron, grab a grow light. Those work good too. I will link some of my favorites below. If you guys would like more of this type of video, let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and like, and I can do more like this. I think it's kind of fun to see a bunch of different plants that are in the same family, just to kind of see what I like and don't like and all that stuff. So if you guys liked that, let me know. And if you guys have questions, leave them in the comments, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.